Hey guys, welcome to the Hardcore Strong podcast. This is episode 3. We are your hosts. I am Ernest.
Hey guys, and I am Cassandra. And we are here today with our very first guest and an extra special, amazing guest on top of that, Miss Kayla Rae.
So I'm the first guest.
Yes,
first official guest.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you being here.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, Kayla Rae's here. She's amazing. We were fortunate enough to kind of, I guess, come into contact with her and share worlds.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touched on that on the last episode at the end, saying that we kind of worked on some merch for her awesome show. And just from there kind of are growing a friendship and a business relationship. And
yeah.
She's an awesome, awesome person and
Thanks.
an awesome artist. So.
Same. You guys are awesome as well.
Thank you so much for, taking the time out and doing this for us. We appreciate it. And you're amazing.
Well, yeah. I love that you guys even asked. Like, it's awesome. And I love podcasts and just getting to talk. So it's all good. It's
Sweet.
A perfect end to my day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so for those of our listeners who do not know who you are, because they've been living under a rock with my guests, how would they not know who Kayla Rae is? Can you just tell us a little bit about who Kayla Rae is and what you are passionate about?
Yes, I am Kayla Rae. I am a singer, songwriter, performing artist. I grew up in Colorado Springs, and I moved to Denver about 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't have anything except my studio equipment, and so I just started making music in my bedroom, posting stuff on SoundCloud, posting videos on YouTube, and from there just kind of grew into what it is now. And I'm just really passionate about music. I'm passionate about telling stories and getting to express myself through those stories, and just being an artist and a creator, it fulfills me. So that's awesome. Who I am.
Yay, that's so awesome.
Thank you.
So, question for me is I love the musical aspect of the business for us. So how did it, when did you know that you wanted to become a singer? Because can you go back to that day, or do you remember that specific moment in your life and you're like, this is what I want to do?
It's literally, I can remember times, sure, and I'll talk about them, but I don't ever remember waking up and being like, oh, I like to sing. It's just always been there. But I do remember watching award shows and watching people perform, like Aaliyah and Jessica Simpson and Britney Spears and Maya, and I was like, I want to do that so bad. That looks like so much fun. Right. And I think I was maybe 8 or 9 when I would see that and be like, oh, okay, I want to get on stage and I want to perform. But I would record, I had this big old bulky tape recorder, and I would just record and sing and run it back. And I remember listening to it and thinking it sounded so bad, every time. Oh, and my mom was like, you're not bad, honey. You just have to practice. She's so sweet. But I just loved it. I don't know. Even when I thought I sucked, I just always knew this is in me for some reason. So I got to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's crazy.
Were there people around you, friends and family, as you started, growing up and singing, that were like, oh my God, she has an amazing voice. You're going to do this.
Yeah. I think what really was cool for me, because I never grew up with my dad, but we've always had a relationship over the phone and stuff, or we would visit. And one time I was visiting him in Minnesota, and we were just walking down the street. And again, I was young. I was maybe I'd say 7 to 10. I don't even remember. Right. And I was just singing to myself. And he was like, wow, you have a really nice voice. And I was like, what? And I remember thinking that was so cool because, my dad and I, we never really talked a whole bunch. And so to get that kind of validation from him was amazing. And then, yeah, I think as I got older and I started to take it more serious myself, I think people around me were like, oh, this is what she wants to do. And damn, she's good.
That's awesome. And going through middle school, high school, you always kind of put that out there that you were a singer? And
I've always been the singer.
Wow.
It would always be it was oh, this is my friend Kayla and she sings. Or
oh, that's so cool.
When we were in high school and we would go to parties and stuff, my best friend would be like, do not ask her to smoke weed. She's a singer. She does not do that. So everyone has always been really supportive and just they've known too. It's just been a piece of who I am since I was little.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Did you do talent shows, anything like that?
Yeah, I did my first talent show when I was in 7th grade, y'all, and it was horrible.
What did you do?
What did you sing?
So I was working with my choir teacher, and she was like, you should sing "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," like a Christmas song.
Oh.
And choir, you're taught to sing like classically.
Right.
But I wanted to sing like R&B and soulful, you know? So I practiced it with her one way, and then I would sing it another way at home. So when I got on stage at the talent show and she was right there, I didn't know what to do. I was like, and I just froze. I forgot all my words. And everyone was like, "It's okay, girl, you got it." And I like cried. And
Oh, no.
yeah, 12 years old, just a hot
Gosh,
mess.
that's so funny.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was bad.
I did the talent show too when I was in middle school. It was so funny. Quick little story. Me and my buddies, we we were like, because there was a band the year before that, and they're like, "Oh, bands always take first place, always take first place." And I was like, "Oh, we got this in the bag," you know. So we play a Suicidal Tendency song, and then we played another song. I forgot the name of it. And, you know, we think we got this in the bag and we lost.
Right.
And I was so
Oh, my
heartbroken.
gosh.
And I was like telling my dad, I was like, "Dad, we're going to win." I was like, "Bands always take first place."
Your
He's like, "You're
expectations
jinxing
were
yourself, but
so
you're jinxing
high.
yourself."
Yep.
And I was just like, "Oh, I swear, we stopped talking for a while and everybody was just
Oh,
like,
you guys were butthurt.
yeah.
for
And we were
real.
just like we
They
were
took it
so,
serious.
yeah, like we took it like that was the end of our
That's
life.
so
You know what I mean?
funny. Oh my
Me,
gosh.
13 years old.
That's
I was
how it
just
feels
like,
at that age. It
Yeah,
feels
for
like
sure.
really intense.
That's so funny. Shout out to my boy Daniel. So he's going to get a kick out of that story.
That's so funny.
Oh man.
That's awesome,
It's
though.
crazy though when like how you said like when you're young, because we've talked about that before. Like in high school, like your world is so small that everything is so magnified, you know. And then
It is. It's
like
crazy.
when you leave high school, and it's just like, wait, that was like so simple.
You're like, why was I
Yeah,
tripping
like,
on
what the
that?
heck? Like
Right.
the problems become so much bigger. It's so weird,
Yeah.
like, how you think
Life
that way
is
when
like,
you're young.
aha, you think that was
Right.
hard.
I know. that's
Just
right.
wait 10
We try to
years.
tell people who are like the high schoolers and stuff are like, enjoy it because your whole world will change.
It will change.
Real life
Gets
hits.
real.
Yeah, for sure. That's so funny. So I guess like leading up to you obviously wanting to become a singer and going through all that, I know you said that you had your own studio when you moved here to Denver. So you were just independent, right? Like, that
Super
whole time, up
independent,
until,
yeah.
Like what point did you
I would
get
say
a manager and how did you do that?
I would say a year ago, like last July was when I like started to like bring together a team around me because I was recording everything on my own. I was mixing all my own music. I would go to the car and play it and then put it back in Logic and be like, okay, this has to be turned down, all this. And I was like finding people to shoot my videos and, you know, just taking all the emails for shows and things like that. And when I did Summer Jam last year, the radio station asked for a song to play on the radio to promote Summer Jam and stuff. And that's when my manager heard of me. That's when Adelio heard of me.
Adelio, right?
Oh, wow.
And
So you didn't even have D up to that point.
No, I did all that
You
on
did
my
the Summer
own.
Jam.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
incredible. That is
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank
incredible,
you.
incredible.
Yeah, and he just, you know, we crossed paths at the right time. Like, timing is everything. There had been people before who had tried to come in and take that role and it just was not right. You know what I mean? So, everything worked out how it was supposed to. And now it's just like seeing the growth from last year to now is just amazing.
That is so crazy. That is cool though. That I assume that you were already like under a team or something when you did Summer Jam. But that's
Yeah,
so
no.
awesome.
We linked up,
Crazy.
I think like maybe a week before the show, maybe 2 weeks before the show, we had our first meeting.
Wow.
And then, so he was there for Summer Jam, you know, to
Right.
support and everything. But yeah, everything up to that point, that whole year, kind of like making that connection with the radio and networking and that I did by myself. And it was scary because I didn't know like
Right.
how to talk to these people or like, you know what I mean? But the KS107.5 is just really supportive. You know, they've just wanted to see me grow since they met me. So
That's
so
that's
awesome.
incredible.
yeah.
The last podcast we were actually talking about that and how we talked about how we ended up meeting Jeremy and how we talked about just putting ourselves out there and putting yourself out there and the universe will, you know, put yourself in the right position. It's crazy just
Yes.
taking that first step, you know. And it's crazy because Cassandra and I were like should we message Kayla Rae? Like, we were just so nervous about just even coming in contact with you. We were just like, oh, no. She's not gonna, you know, she's gonna
you just never know until you like do it.
And that's what she said. She's like, and she's like, I'm just gonna do it. And I was like, yeah, do it. I was like, just do it. And she did it. And it was just like, I was like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, we would have never knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy.
That was so cool too when you did that, because, you know, I've been working with Adelio and John, my producer, you know, for about a year now, but there was still pieces that have been missing, you know, that we're still building. And so to get that message just made me really grateful. I was like, wow, like, you know, they want to rock with me. That's cool. Like, it just really humbled me all over again. And like, it was a no-brainer.
That's awesome.
It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like, we were super nervous, but I was like, she seems like a really cool person. And then you were like even more cool than we thought.
Oh,
like,
thank
so
you.
Sweet and like humble. And like to us, you're like so big, you know, and you're like growing and getting bigger, that is just like intimidating. But at the same time, I'm like, she's just so cool that you make it easy to like work with and talk to and like approach, which is awesome.
I love hearing that when like you meet people in person and it's just like, it's just better, because you never know what you're gonna get on social media. Like everything is just such a front, you know, unfortunately. It's just all a front. And so it's so nice when you meet people in person and it's like, oh yeah, we're human.
For sure. Right. And that's what, like, when you say that, like, it was super relatable for that, because like, you know, you don't know how to talk to, like, that's all a learning process for us, is like still putting ourselves out there, still trying to like network with people. And you know, like, it's a scary thing. And you know, a lot of people out there listening to this podcast may have that fear, and that's what we keep talking about, is we think a lot of people hold back because of, you know, fear of judgment of others, or afraid to do something because of, you know, our entire lives are being told what we can do instead of what we can do. So it was like everything that we do up to this point, we've never like had like a business background or anything like that. So it's like something we just trial and error, you know, we just did it all on our own too. So it's super relatable. So.
And then I guess too, that kind of brings me to a question that I have, because I'm so curious. Like, I know you said you networked and kind of obviously got yourself to that point with KS107.5 and the Summer Jam. Like, any tips or advice that you have for any of our listeners that are out there that, you know, want to sing or even are in the music industry, especially like locally, that are kind of just like, what do I do? Or what's like the best advice for them to kind of, not necessarily like do Summer Jam, but obviously that's a huge goal, I'm sure, for anyone here.
Absolutely.
So like, kind of what do you do?
I've been thinking about like making a video kind of about my last like 2 years, like the journey, because I realized a lot of my followers and stuff are artists too. Like they're like rappers or singers or whatever. And so I was like, dang, like I just want to talk about like my story. But
you definitely should.
I would say like, I would say to just like be in your moment, like be in the moment, and don't be afraid to like talk with people and like shake hands and tell every person like that you meet who you are and what you do. Like I always say that to people. I'm like, don't fail to tell every person you meet, like, hi, my name's Kayla. And, you know, once you engage in a conversation, let them know who you are and what you're passionate about, because you don't know who you're meeting. Like when I met, you know, Rosa from KS107.5, it was just after I had released a song on SoundCloud. And she came up to me at a party. She was like, yo, like I heard your song and it was dope. And I was like, thank you. And I had no idea who she was, you know what I mean? But we just start talking and she's like, yeah, she's like, I'm working at the radio. She's like, keep going. Like, I think what you got is special. And so naturally we just like became friends and stayed connected. And the more advanced she got in her career at the radio station, the more she was able to kind of put other artists on to her manager and, you know, her boss and stuff. And so she brought me in one day to do an internet show. And that's when I met the big guy in charge at KS. And in that moment, I didn't know, like, you know what I mean?
Crazy. Right, yeah.
Like, I knew it was her boss, but I didn't know the importance of what I was doing at that time. Like, I didn't know how important it was that I was in the radio station and I was meeting these people and they were interested in me. Like, I had no clue. And so he was like, well, when's your next show? I'd love to come. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's this Friday. And it was at this horrible venue. Like, the sound system was terrible. Oh, no. The show was 2 hours late, and he was waiting.
Oh, man.
And
that's horrible.
Yeah. And again, I didn't realize what was going on. I'm just like, oh, they just want to see me perform. And he's cool. We're just talking all night. And then the show's over, and Rosa calls me the next day. She's like, what happened? And I'm like, what do you mean? Everything was great. She's like, no. She's like, the show was late. Apparently it was a disaster. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, I have another show. You guys should come out to another show, right? And so they came out to another show. And at this point, I didn't know I was up for consideration for Summer Jam. I didn't even know that was what they were doing.
Wow.
And I was like, come to this other show. Again, it was like not the best venue, but I killed that one for sure. And Victor and Rosa came up to me afterwards and they were like, that was amazing. Do you want to open for Summer Jam? And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And so I think like the advice I could give is to just take everything as serious as you can. Like, obviously have fun with it, but don't like, what am I trying to say? Like, don't fail to just put your best foot forward every single time. Like, treat every opportunity, every hand you shake like it's the last one or like it's the one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, put your all into it because you just really don't know like who you're dealing with or what's happening around you until you're like in the moment and you're like, oh, snap.
I love that. That's
Here we are.
That is awesome. That's very true. You never know.
Right.
You just never know.
And to read on, I read on the KS107.5 on kind of how she kind of like worked her way up the ladder, and that's dope.
Yeah.
Like she's
young.
a clear example of that too. Like she put in the work, she put in like, just the steps to go up, and that's where obviously she's at where she's at now. So shout out to the, putting in the work like that, and that's, what I mean. It's all about,
Levels.
taking everything serious, like you said. So that's awesome. So
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
It was amazing. It was
just
surreal.
to see that in you too. That's so awesome. That makes super
that's
motivating
so crazy
too.
that like
Thank
they
you.
didn't even tell you, which was probably better that they didn't tell you because
It
you
was-
probably would have been super nervous.
Oh my
or,
gosh, yeah.
You had all this pressure on you. You were kind of just like, oh, I'm just gonna perform. And
Yeah.
then it ended up.
If
being
they would have
like-
told me,
yeah.
I would have.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. I had no idea. That's how
What was it
worked.
like to hear it? Like, obviously, to go from that to hear your like
Oh, yeah,
your
that's
first time on the radio. Like, what was that feeling like? Like, I mean, God, I can only imagine.
It was crazy. Like the first time actually hearing it, I was in the radio station though, premiering the song. So I wasn't like in the car,
Right.
But so it was just like really exciting. It was really hype. We were all like freaking out. But then the first time I heard it like by myself, I didn't have a schedule. I didn't know when it was coming on. I was having such a bad day, and I got in the car and I was driving to my best friend's house to go cry. And on the way to her house, I heard the song. It just started playing, and that was my moment. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is real. I like rolled down my windows. I was like, do you guys hear this? Like, this is me.
They're probably like, what?
Yes.
So
and
awesome.
it was just like very fulfilling. Like, it just felt like, damn, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is where you're supposed to be. Like,
Right.
this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I
It
bet
was
you there's
amazing.
a never like a better feeling than that. You know what I mean? To
I
like
bet.
like
That's
this
awesome.
this is what I put all
There's
this time in
nothing
and all
better
this
than
work. You know what I
hearing
mean? To, like,
yourself on the radio.
oh,
It's
that's so awesome.
Because like, while you're hearing it, thousands of other people are hearing it at the
Right.
same
Right.
time. That's why it's so cool. Because, like, you can play yourself in your car all day,
Right.
Right.
But when you know that, like, at the same time there's others listening too, it's just like, connectivity.
And
It's
did you
all deep.
At that time too, did you always have like your friends and people that knew you, like texting you or calling you every time they would hear the song? Like,
Yes.
you're on the radio.
It was
I hear you."
amazing.
That's so
Like,
cool.
it felt like just a moment, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it was such a moment for me. And I think for everybody else too, because what I also didn't realize was female local artist has never been played on the radio before that. That never happened before.
Wow.
And, again, being in a moment and not realizing what was going on. I didn't even know that, you know what I mean? I was just grateful to be there. But I think it was a huge moment for women, in Denver, but artists in general who are just like really pushing for something. It was like, oh dang, like this
Right.
this does go somewhere. Like the harder
Right.
you work, it goes somewhere. And so it was like one of the best times of my life.
That's super
That's awesome.
motivating. Like,
It was so great, y'all.
we had this conversation the other day too, is about how people ended up like stopping or quitting what they're doing in their business because of the fact that like it gets hard and it gets, you think that all the work that you put in is like sometimes you just hit a brick wall and you're like, damn, that's why some people quit, and that's why obviously
Yeah.
there's more people who are successful or they do succeed with their business because they don't stop. They keep putting that work in, and it's cool to see that like you're right, there is something that comes out of that when you put in all
Yeah.
that work like that, and that's very motivating. Just to hear that from you is awesome. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, of
very
course,
cool.
man. And it's crazy too, at that moment when they asked me to do Summer Jam, I was having that thought process. I was like, this is not going anywhere. Like, I was so stuck at that point. Like, I had no new music in the vault. Like, I was like, what's happening? Like, why do I feel like I'm so stagnant? And like literally a week later, that's when they asked. So
That's awesome.
you just got to keep pushing.
So kind of like to go back to how you said you were like in a place at that time where you felt like you were stagnant or stuck or like, you know, I would say like kind of like not knowing which way to go.
Yeah.
What are like some adversities that you have faced like in the music industry specifically, and how did you overcome them?
Good question.
I think the biggest one was like internal. It was like self-doubt or like, dang, am I good enough? You know, does this suck? Is this too vulnerable? And then putting all that thought into like a song and then putting it out. And I think like when people connect with it, all of that goes away. Like all of it, literally. Even if it's 5 people who are like, this song was amazing. Thank you for writing this. It's like, that's why I think it's so important to be vulnerable with other people, because I think it helps us feel like more normal and more human and like, okay, I don't have to be so afraid because I guess I'm not the only one like feeling like this. I would also say like doing things on my own, you know, like it was a blessing, but it also was something that, you know, kind of hindered me as well, because I was wearing so many different hats and, you know, sometimes I didn't know what to do. Right. Like I had no idea what to do in certain situations. And, you know, I would be working with people or producers and, you know, they were just interested in other things than making music. You know what I mean? Like they weren't in it because I was talented or... So I had to learn how to be a professional always. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm passionate about. You have to take me seriously. And you know what I mean? So, yeah, just a lot of personal adversities, I think. Like, overcoming a lot of, like, my mental battles and stuff, really.
Absolutely. And like to kind of go, we don't have to obviously be super detailed or anything, but do you think, even though it's 2019, almost 2020, as a female... it's more challenging still in the music industry as far as, like you said, having to deal with unprofessional, in my opinion, people, you know, that expect more or like have these, you know, weird standards, especially, you know, males with females kind of thing. You think it's still pretty common as far as it, like I said, it's 2019, but as far as the industry goes?
I feel like it's both beneficial to be a woman in the industry and also like a curse, because you have people who are concerned about how old you are. You have people who are concerned about how sexy you are or not sexy enough or, you know, but then it's weird because there's like so many dope women who are doing it that don't fit this picture perfect, like image of what an R&B singer should be or a pop star should be. So it's kind of both. I don't know. Like, as far as everyone's outward opinion, I feel like it is still very challenging for women. There's a lot of things to, like, get people to look past, you know, and to just focus on the music. As far as internally in the industry, I think it's still pretty difficult. Like, I'm blessed with amazing people who I've, like, teamed up with and work with consistently. And I think what I learned was to just take myself serious. You know what I mean? Because you get what you put out. Like, it all comes back to you. So if you're focused on, oh, they're just going to be worried about this, or it's going to be so hard for me to find work. If you just keep thinking like that, then it probably is going to, you know, be stacked against you. But if you go into something with an open mind and you have, like, a clear vision of the results you want, I think you can have anything that you want. It's just all about the type of woman that you're like, who am I? Like, you have to know that. And then you're like, okay, I can go get what I want. So
I totally agree.
I think it depends. Yeah.
So for a lot of your listeners, to kind of like jump off of that. So you built the team. It wasn't like you just had it. So it was like a lot of like, all right, this person doesn't fit for us. And so the team that you have now is obviously something that you've been like, you know, working towards to like build a strong team and strong family with everything up to this point, right? So it wasn't like something that just kind of like whatever,
that kind of just like fell into your lap. I mean, kind of though. Like when I met, you know, my manager, there was a song that someone played for him because me and a friend made this song, and my friend was like, you have to get it mixed at a bigger studio. Like, we can't do this in the crib. And so they played it for John, who's my producer now. And he was like, oh, this girl's like really good. So he played it for Adelio. And I met with them, and then we like got to work right away. So it kind of did fall into my lap, but I always had a standard of who I wanted to work with. I knew like certain people had to meet like just certain morals, and like you have to have a certain amount of passion and dedication, and I wouldn't work with just anybody. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, yeah, we have, you know, a producer here willing to work with you in a nice studio. Like it wasn't just jumping at, you know, an opportunity that looked nice. Like it had to feel right and it had to fit. And ever since then, yeah, we've been bringing on people like slowly in time, you know, who are just like adding to it and making it even
That's awesome.
better than it I could imagine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Yeah, it seems like you even said like this past year has been probably so crazy for you, and I'm sure like having a strong team behind you that, like you said, relates to you on so many levels. Like even with us, like anyone that is involved with our brand or Hardcore Strong in general, we want it to be a fit. You know, we want them to match our morals and our values, and not to just be like, oh, they have like 10,000 followers, so they could be a brand ambassador. Like,
Exactly.
we're huge on that. Like we don't care how many followers are. If you're going to represent our brand, you know, with integrity, you know, and be all about our values, then that's what we care about.
Yeah, representation is so important. Like I haven't heard one bad thing about the people that I'm working with. You know what I mean? Anytime I bring them up, so and so's like, oh yeah, I know them. Good people. You know what I mean? I've never heard anything bad, and they're people of their word. Like, you know, they're solid, and that's super important to me, because I will not work with people who, you know, talk bad about people or who like do people dirty. Like you can't bring that energy over here, because we're trying to win, like we're trying to succeed, and if you're focused on everybody else, it's not going to happen. So yeah, their heads are in the right place. I got good people.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. God is good.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you a question real quick.
I love it.
Can you talk to us about the butterflies? What is that about?
Yeah. I don't know. I've always just really liked them ever since I was younger. Like, I just, you know, like in school when you get those little like boxes and you get to like basically make a butterfly, like they bring caterpillars in, and each student gets their little, and over like weeks you get to watch it hatch and all that stuff, and then you set them free. Like, I was just so mesmerized by that whole process, and the older I got, the more that I just connected with it, you know, just the idea of changing. And when you look into, you know, the metamorphosis of moths and butterflies, it's actually a very painful process when they're, you know, wrapped up like that. It's not, it doesn't like feel good. Like they're shedding a lot of layers, and like they're growing wings, and like they're fragile. And so they have to like learn how to like fly, and you know what I mean? Like it's actually painful for them. And I just love what it represents. You know what I mean? Like I'm huge on change. I think that that's the only way to grow, is to try new things and to take different roads. And it's just, and not to mention they just look beautiful. You know what I mean? Yes. Moths and butterflies, like they're just so pretty, and they represent freedom to me, but most importantly, change. And that's like something that I just want to focus on, is like growing and becoming more.
Yeah, I love that for sure. Especially like the whole concept, like with the pain part, which I'm sure like
message.
Yeah, Ernest is
yeah, like, and a lot of people don't know that. They're like, oh, a caterpillar gets
like
cozy
it's so
and
easy,
it's cocoon, but you know, when you research it, it's like scientists say it's actually a painful thing for them.
Right.
Sure.
You know,
they're literally changing their physique.
Yeah, you're literally physically changing into something else.
I love that so much, and it's so cool because it's like it means something. It's not just like, oh, I like butterflies because you know this, but. It's funny. I remember that how you said we had them in school, and I remember the day that like we were supposed to like let them go or whatever. I missed it. So.
Oh dang! You didn't get to see your butterfly fly.
I did not. So.
We're gonna have to get one.
Yeah, you gotta get one.
Right.
Raise it.
Raise a little butterfly and set him free.
I was sad about that, so it brought me back to my childhood.
Oh man, I didn't mean to bring up some pain.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. What was the first single that you had? You know, what was like the first like? Oh, sorry. What was the first single that you had?
Ever?
Yeah, ever.
Dang. Well, I recorded my first song when I was like 13 in somebody's closet. It was like a Mother's Day song for my mom, and she cried her eyes out. But like I would say my first official single was Why Is It Not Coming to Me? It was definitely off of my project, The Ceremony. I think it was My Damn Self. No. sorry. My first like official song was called, oh my God, this is so bad. It was a song I did with my friend Devin from the Springs, and
Shout out Devin.
I think he's in Spain now, like, and he like married this beautiful Spanish girl.
Wow,
Like he has a whole different life than when I met him.
that's crazy.
I can't believe I don't know that. I want to say like maybe My Damn Self was probably like my first official. No, Dust. What is wrong with me? Dust. Okay, Dust was the song. And I found the track online from this girl, and she goes by 19 Beats. And she sent me the track, and I like wrote the song Dust in a pizza shop on my lunch break at work, like on my voice notes.
That's so cool.
And I released it, and it was the first song I released off of my project called The Ceremony back in like 2015.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
What would be, I know like all your songs are awesome and I'm sure they're all special to you, but
Yeah.
what song
Tough.
is your favorite and or means the most to you?
I would say my favorite is probably still Self-Control. Because that song was just written like so purely and so like fast. It was literally written from like straight up emotion. Like I was so in this like situation, and it came out in like 30 minutes, and the song is just really beautiful to me. It's like one of the first like real songs I feel like I had that was like good quality writing, sounding, like it was just beautiful, and performing it is my absolute favorite. But that's like considered a classic at this point. Self-Control is years old, so I would have to say Lately. This is so hard because every time I think of one, I'm like, no, this one. I would say Lately. Changed Up has to be the one.
Yay, that's my favorite.
I was gonna say that too.
Changed Up has to be the
That's my
one. It's
favorite.
just so, yeah, it's just so
Me
raw.
too. I love that
I
song
do.
so much.
Thank you.
That's like my favorite song.
It's all loves. It's tough.
Yeah.
I love
It's
it.
tough.
So much.
And she's rocking the It's All Love
I
t-shirt,
know.
guys.
I love it. You know what I realized? We forgot the, I did because I was the one who checked the proofs, the apostrophe.
We did
It's
see
so
that, but,
funny.
like that's how you sent it.
Yeah, we're
to
probably
me
like,
on
oh,
the
that's how she
thing.
wants it, so we're not
Yes,
gonna.
Exactly.
I'm not even gonna lie. Oh god.
Didn't we say
Okay,
that?
so this is so
I wish
funny.
you guys would have been like, hey, girl.
No.
you know
Hold on. I swear, this is the conversation. I swear, dead ass that we had this conversation. So I was like, "Are you sure that's how she wants it?" And she was like, "This is how she
I was
sent
like,
it."
look, this is what she sent.
You
me.
did too. You were like,
Yeah.
I just want to double check on the
and I was
proofs.
just-
Everything's good, right? And I'm like, yeah.
And she kept telling me, she was like, she's saying like, yeah, this is she approved it. She approved it. We sent everything to her, and I was like, okay. I was like, and I was sure she doesn't want an apostrophe. And we had this conversation. She's like,
Right.
no, it's probably how she wants it. And that's probably
I
how
was
they
like,
do
yeah,
it.
'cause
And I was like,
what if we put it and then it's not how she?
and she's like, well, why
has
did you put it?
on
Yeah,
the-
exactly. And that's
on
why we
the
didn't want to
cover.
like. That's why we
No,
do that with
guys.
everything.
So it's what is on the purple? That's you sent
yep.
to me. It's like that.
I know. And when I
So
went back and saw that, I was like, that was me. Because actually, Adelio pointed it out. He was like, all these look great, but
There's no
the
apostrophe.
grammar is off. And I was like, and I had to own up. I was like, I did that. Like,
And see, and that was something that we were just like, because we didn't want to be like, well,
Yeah.
we don't know how to fucking spell. You know?
yeah.
Right.
No,
I know.
that was,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so funny.
So for the next batch, we're just going to.
Okay.
Add a little apostrophe.
I'll
We
just
can do that.
we'll Picasso.
It's
I
all
know, we
love.
can do that.
It's like,
That's
it's
so
all
funny.
love. It's funny, we have a period, but we
I
don't have a.
know. But I was like, maybe it's just like how like aesthetically, you know, you wanted it to look. I don't know.
Okay, let's just be
You're
real.
art-
How
you're
many
an
people
artist
even
and
noticed that,
creative,
though? Let's
so-
see. If you bought a shirt from Kayla Rae, put it down in our comments to see if you even noticed
Did
that.
you notice
You
the
can't say
missing
it now.
apostrophe?
I know, right? Don't say it now
Now that
because
you
you went and looked at the shirt that
Yeah,
you bought.
but let's know
That's
if
so
you
funny.
noticed it.
Right.
That is so
That's so
funny. though.
funny.
Oh my gosh.
Let's touch on the latest music video that you just dropped. Stupid.
Stupid.
Congratulations with all the views that you
Oh
got
my
on there, and it's
Thank
amazing.
you.
And dead ass, it's like a movie. So
Yeah, and whoever
Thank
hasn't
you.
seen it, make sure you
Right.
check it out.
Yeah, you got to watch Stupid. This one was so much fun because we made the song in LA, John and I. And we went out to LA thinking we had sessions with other people out there who we had connected with on our previous trip. So we get to LA and nobody hit us back whatsoever. And we were out there for over a week planned. So we were like, all right, well, we're just going to do our own thing. Like,
Right.
forget it. So we just we just got really open, and we were just like, you know, I think in a different place, because I don't think a lot of people know, but John writes a lot of the songs with me. He doesn't just make the beats. We write these songs together, and he produces the track. You know what I mean? He's like, try singing it like this, how would it sound like this? So he's very much a part of these songs as I am. But we just got really like, you know, we're like, let's just be a little more open, a little more vulnerable. And Stupid came about because I think we've both been there where we're just like, what the fuck did you just say? Why did you do that? Like, everybody's been there, right? You're like, why did I say that? And so we wanted the video to be just as like relatable as the song is. And him and I actually both really like this movie called My Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I love it. And for those of you listening who don't know, she basically grows up being best friends with this guy, and he gets engaged, and she realizes has feelings for him. So throughout the movie, it's just her trying to figure out what she's going to do up until the wedding. It's hilarious. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. So him and I, we were like, yeah, let's kind of take it from there, but just like add our own little details to it. And so I just kind of like wrote out the whole screenplay, and we met up with Dreamers Day, who are amazing. They shot the video, and they just brought the vision to life. Like, when I watched it the first time when it was done, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this looks so good. And the story is so like heartfelt, and just, it matches the song perfectly.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
It came together so perfect. Like, no hiccups. I mean, there's little things, you know, that happen in a creative process, but everything was very smooth.
Right. And the only time you would notice hiccups like that is because it's your work. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Most of the time we come from a point where like we reference something, and me and Cassandra are like, oh shit, they're gonna know. But we're the only people that notice it because we see it, or we're like super detailed with everything that we do. So we're like, but they probably won't even notice it was a mess up. You know what I mean?
And you're so critical of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're so critical. Yeah. But it was an amazing process from writing the song to shooting the video to watching it come full circle online. It was just one that I'm extremely proud of. For sure.
Yeah, I love it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I love the little kids with it, and then how it grows up.
So
I love
cute.
It. Yeah,
To see the reaction was amazing.
Yeah, I
that
liked
was
the video
so
you
cool.
posted.
So cute.
I was like,
She's
dang,
like,
that's
"That's me."
so
She was like,
cool.
that's me. I'm about to cry.
Yeah, that's so
Shout out
cool.
to Ava and Jaden for
so cool.
killing it.
Yeah, that is
It was
so
funny
cool.
the whole time we were shooting. Jaden, he's like, I want to go play Fortnite. I want to go play Fortnite. And we're like, you're killing it though. Like,
Oh my gosh,
and they
that
were
is
on
so
camera.
funny.
They were amazing. Like, they took direction so well. But in between takes, they were like sitting in the heat, and they were just like
They're like hating
sunburnt.
it. They're like,
That's so crazy.
They
we
did
were
such
talking
a
about
good
that the other day.
job.
It was just imagine like if that was like someone was like, hey, you want to be a music video? Like,
Yeah, like, as a
being that
kid,
young, you know
yeah,
what I mean? To
that's
do
so
that, so
Mm-hmm.
for you to give them the opportunity is so cool.
Yeah,
That's
they're
awesome.
gonna have it forever to watch.
Right,
It's so
right.
cool.
yeah, that is really cool.
Does John play guitar?
I don't know. I'm sure he knows how, but
Because I was listening. Every time I listen to "Stupid," I would love to hear an acoustic version of that.
okay, yeah. So I've never heard him like physically play a guitar. I know he knows how, but that was like keyed out on the keyboard.
Oh,
That was a
wow.
guitar. That was a bass guitar sound, and we pitched it up so it sounds like a regular guitar, but it was actually a bass
That's so
originally.
cool. That's very cool.
But there's definitely going to be an acoustic version coming soon. There's
That's
something really
so
exciting we're
cool.
putting together that's going to come out in December.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited.
I guess what I would like to ask you is a really cool, interesting question, I think.
Yeah.
What would you like title this chapter in your life? What would you call it?
Ooh. I would title this chapter, It Happens. Like,
Love that.
it happens, man. Like, the good and the bad, you know what I mean? Like, and so many things come in and out of your life, and you're like, why? What did I do? It happens. Like, keep it pushing, you know what I mean? Like, oh, something great happened. The same way we encourage ourselves to, like, detach and let go of unfortunate situations, it's important to do that with, as crazy as it sounds, with good situations too, because you have to know that life is always like turning, and it's like the good is going just like the bad is going, and it's coming in just like the bad, you know what I mean? Like, so when something great happens, acknowledge it, be in that moment, and let it go for what it was, and keep creating more, you know, moments, because it happens. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you can't like dwell on things, even though I know it's easy for us to do that, or, like not to see the bigger picture at the time. Or
it's so hard. I'm like in such a crazy transition right now with, you know, like music as well, but just personally. And I'm like trying to do that. I'm trying to see the bigger picture, but knowing that we can't see the bigger picture because like we can't see the future. But it's just like making those decisions that life is like pushing you to make. And it's getting harder and harder to stay the same because life is like, no, you have to go this way. Stop resisting. And so I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm going to just go with it. And hopefully when I look back on this and I'm in the bigger picture, I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. Okay, I feel better. Like, yeah, life is crazy.
Life is crazy.
It is. I think like that's like a good point that you made too, that like we always seem to resist something, or you don't necessarily like want to stay stagnant or be the same, but at the same time I feel like even just from yourself or people around you might, you know, the whole like you've changed or you're changing, or like you feel like you don't want to lose yourself in that process. You know, am I staying true to who I am, but at the same time you are evolving, or hopefully you're evolving.
Yeah.
Say I changed up.
I know.
Yep.
That's why I love that song so much, because like the past few years have changed so much for me. You know,
Yeah.
I've like been changing and evolving, and I think that's why for that song Changed Up like means so much to me. Like even a long time ago, probably like last year, I had told Ernest, because I wanted to start doing a YouTube channel. And I was like,
Definitely
I
should.
want Changed Up to be on my intro. And I was like, I should reach out to her and ask her because I don't want to get in trouble.
No,
you know?
that would
But
be
I was like, I
dope.
want to
I
ask
would
her
love
because
that.
I feel like it's such a cool song. Remember when I asked you? I told
Yeah,
you,
I was like,
I
do
want
it.
that. as
I
the
would
intro.
love that. Consider
'Cause I
it
love
done.
it. It's so funny.
I said, I bet you any money that she says yes. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
Totally do
that's
it.
so funny. But I love that song for sure.
Thank you.
So I guess like finally, what are some future goals that you have for yourself, even if it's just like for the next year, and then any upcoming projects that you have? I know you kind of mentioned you have something big coming in December,
Yeah.
and then you know anything like that.
Yeah, there's something brewing, and unfortunately, like we gotta wait. Like we have to wait for like a decision to be made, and it's not in our control at this point. So I can't speak too much on what is like being worked out right now. But yeah, in December there's gonna be some cool content coming, something that we're putting together. And hopefully by like March of next year, I'll have my EP done. That's something that I've been really passionate about releasing for over a year now. Like, but I'm like, at this point, it would be a debut. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I can't take that lightly. Like, I want it to be exactly a representation of me. Like, if this is, you know, like kind of my introduction. So hopefully by March, that's something that will be a little more solidified. And I would say like within the next year, my goal is to just keep putting out music, and I just want to get on bigger stages. Like, you know, I want to get into like festivals, and I want to get on somebody's tour. Like I want to go to different cities and perform now. I feel like I've done a lot of shows here in Denver, and there's nothing like performing like, you know, for your like core supporters. But I love introducing myself out of town. Like it's the best. So I really want to start traveling and performing more on different stages, and yeah, just leveling up.
that's so awesome.
Just like, you guys are so cute.
I know. I was telling like, I'm so glad we're having a guest today. I was like, because
I love it.
we converse obviously really well, but I'm like, we know each other so well. that
Yeah.
It's just, like,
It's annoying.
So cool
we do
that
the
you guys
same
can
shit.
do this together, though. It's
Nice.
so dope.
Thank you.
it's nice to have a third person here. In the
Yeah.
podcast.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes.
I could totally see that happening in 2020. Like even in just the future in general, like you touring like that. That's
I was thinking that too. I'm like,
Thank
I could
you.
see you at a festival for sure, or even just on
Thanks.
a tour with somebody.
Yep.
I could totally see that.
That would
Yeah.
be so cool. Take us with you, and we'll just do. You know, we'll
Right.
have all your
Hang out
merch
with you.
ready,
Right,
so
we'll
we'll just go
Right.
on
be at the
tour with you,
table.
and then we'll sell your merch at the booth for you, so you
I'm
don't have to do
saying.
nothing.
For
So
sure.
I'm just like,
And
wait.
then on the tour
That would be
bus,
so
we'll set up
fun.
the cables and we'll get the podcast going
That would be so fun.
on the bus.
I know. That would be awesome.
It'd be so much
you better
fun.
stop right now,
He's
because
gonna
it's
get
like
excited
I'll just
for
like
sure.
I'm gonna go in on Monday, I'm like, go boss, I fucking quit. Like we're going on tour.
No, there's no tour yet. And he's like, I'm out.
We're done. So,
That's
Our
so funny.
podcast has changed.
Adelio's got
tour
this-
bus.
The Kayla-
Yeah,
Kayla
the
Rae
Kayla Rae tour bus.
The Kayla Rae tour
Well,
bus.
Adelio has this like
so funny.
monster RV, and he's like, "That's what we're gonna load up in the RV."
Adelia.
And
That's so funny.
yeah,
That's awesome.
so the Kayla Rae RV.
We're excited to look forward to the new merch that possibly you're going to be doing in the future.
Yes, that is also a future thing. Is, more designs and stuff. Like I want to get more people in my clothes. Like that's
Yeah,
something I'm
definitely.
so excited about, and not just like musical merch, but I have ideas for like a line, eventually that I want to create, and like
So awesome.
a whole brand, like, just kind of centered around my life right now. And so, yeah,
That would be so cool.
so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
super pumped.
Kayla Rae brand coming.
Mhm.
Kayla Rae documentary for her last 2 years.
Yes.
coming, which I
Mini
want to
doc,
see.
right.
That would be so cool. You
That
really
would be
should do that.
amazing. Yeah.
I think tons of people would love to see, your story and your journey. And like I said, a lot of people, want to be where you're at, just like at some point
Yeah.
over there too. And just to see you grow, I'm sure is like super inspiring to people. So I have a question
I
since
love
you
it.
mentioned the tour.
Yeah.
If you could tour with anyone,
shit.
who would it be? Who would
At
be, like,
this
your
at this
go-to?
moment, I mean, like my absolute
Like,
dream,
right.
would be definitely to like tour with like Rihanna or Beyonce.
That would be
But
insane.
like right now in this like generation of like women, I would really love to be on Kehlani's tour. I
That would
feel
be
Wow,
like
that'd be dope.
that
I
would
feel
be-
like
I
her
could see
and
that.
like I feel like we're similar in some ways, and I just love her authenticity, and I just think she's so dope, and I just know she would be so dope in person, and I feel like the people who support her, you know what I mean? I would love to like get in front of them and be like, yeah,
I
this
could
is
totally,
me.
yeah, I could see you fitting on the tour with her
I would
for
love
sure.
to tour with her.
So shout out to
Shout out to Kehlani.
check out Kayla Rae so she
Right.
could open for you.
Right.
I think a quick question now that we're nearing the end of this podcast is that for any local artist or anybody right now kind of in their first step towards, trying to make a name for themselves, what kind of advice would you give any local or anybody in general to pursue their dreams or anything that they're trying to chase or accomplish?
I would say to be like mindful of the fact that your journey is yours. Like, it's okay to have inspirations and to look up to people and find ways to do things, but realize that your journey is your own, and the only way you're going to get to where you go is if you're walking in your path. Like, stay true to what is meant for you, and your dreams are going to be so much bigger than you could imagine. And I would say to be consistent. Like, these are like when we're young and we're like pursuing what we want, we're supposed to be selfish, like in a good way. Like we're supposed to like put ourselves first and, get the best in what we feel like we deserve. And I would say to put yourself first and be consistent in your art. Continue to create every day. That way you are just like on point, and that way you don't ever have to get ready because you're already ready. When luck and preparation meet, that's your opportunity, and you don't want to miss that lucky chance because you weren't prepared or you weren't ready. So stay consistent, stay ready, and focus on you. Like, social media is so whack because all we see are a bunch of different people doing their thing,
Right.
and we're like, I should be doing that, I should be this far,
Right.
or you know what I mean? Like, we spend so much time mindlessly looking at what other people are doing that's time away from ourselves. And so, we're all guilty of it. I'm so guilty of it, which is why like it's so prevalent in my life right now, like why I talk about it so much, because I feel like I'm like trying to like get my shit right. Focus on yourself and you're gonna win regardless. So yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Message.
Like,
Yeah, that's
message ding.
Yeah, I agree. We always want to compare, our chapter to somebody else's chapter, and
Yeah,
they
and they're
could be
probably
on
on chapter
complete- exactly,
25.
completely different.
And you're on
part of
6.
their life.
We talked about this on the last podcast yet again. Like, it's just crazy because we can't compare, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they
what
could
we're
be light
doing,
years
right.
ahead of you. They could
Yeah.
be in the business, like in our case, a brand owner that we look up to. They could be doing it for 6 years, and we're like, why
Yeah.
aren't we doing that now? And I'm like, well, we're like barely over year 1. So
Exactly.
it's going to take time. But it is hard with social media for sure to have that
It
pressure on
is.
you to think that you should be someone you're not, or to be in a different place than you are.
Right.
For sure.
And I think self-discipline too is another thing that people should like really think about, because it seems like we're just so entitled. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, I just feel like we're like, oh, I've been working at this so hard for a couple years. I deserve this. And it's like, sure, you know, you deserve the world, but
Right.
like, discipline yourself. Like,
Right.
discipline yourself. Like you're Beyonce, you know what I mean? That woman like works her ass off. So
Right.
many people work their asses off, and it's like they don't get what they have because they felt like they deserved it. You know what I
Right.
mean? They felt like, damn, like if I want this, I gotta go get it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
discipline yourself and make grown up decisions. Like, just be a boss.
I
Dope.
love that. Yay.
Cass, I was wondering if we could do that new segment that we've been wanting to do kind of towards the end of our entrepreneurs and cool. So I guess we'll title it First Things First. You know, I think it's going to be how this is going to work is that me and Cass are going to bounce back. We're going to say a one word phrase, and you got to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll go first, then Cass will go. The only rule is you can't repeat yourself.
Okay,
Cool.
got you.
She's like, okay, I got this. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to go first. So Kayla Rae.
Powerful.
Love it.
I love that.
Thank you. Like, I have to come back with one word?
Yeah, it's just one word. Yep,
Okay,
just
got
like
you.
that was perfect.
Empowerment.
Necessary.
Nice.
Butterfly.
Oh, I have 100 words for butterfly. Acceptance.
Love it. And then I guess we could do a final one. Success.
Everybody's. Success is
Yay.
everyone.
I
Love
love
it.
it, Kayla Rae.
That's hard.
That's a good
I
one.
know.
Ooh, but I need to practice that because there's this thing on YouTube called Song Association where they like give somebody a word and they have to sing a song with that word in it.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like quick thinking.
Okay,
and
you did that on your Instagram Live, right? And you were
Did
like
I do
somebody,
that?
because you were like, that was when you were
Oh,
like,
I think
yeah,
I was
yeah, that's
freestyling.
right.
yeah,
Wait,
but
was
you-
I freestyling?
yeah, but it was like same concept though, right?
Yes.
Where you had somebody give you a word. I
Yeah,
can't remember what the
but
word
this
was.
thing you
Like
have to like
Kayla break
sing a
up bars.
song.
Ba, ba,
Yeah.
ba,
Oh, it's so embarrassing. But
So
with this,
embarrassing.
you have to like sing a song that's already out.
Oh,
So like they
interesting.
give you a
Oh, that's really
word
cool.
like car, and you have to sing a song like
like
with
on
car in it.
What's the name of that movie? Where the girls all sing together. What am I thinking of?
Dream Girls.
No.
Oh,
Pitch Perfect. They do that.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
like the riff off. and they
Oh,
do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know
it's like that. Kinda.
yeah.
So are you gonna do that on? Is it an actual like YouTube channel that you want to do?
It's
or are you
like
gonna
a.
do it for
I
your,
think
like,
L Magazine does it. They
Oh,
just invite
okay.
artists and they
Dope.
do that.
Totally
And then
get
there's also this guy. He does like vlogs and stuff. What's his name? Terrell something, and he does it. And
That's
it's just he invites like singers.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. You guys should check it
Yeah.
out.
I'll
That's
have
dope.
to check it out for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again, Kayla
Thanks,
Rae.
y'all, for
You're
having
awesome. This was so
me.
much fun. I'm so excited to play it back and
Part two.
edit
Part two.
it. Yes.
I know.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
definitely
so
have to do
yeah,
part
we're gonna
two
have to
with
have you
Kayla Rae.
come back on the show for sure.
Kind of see what's been happening. Maybe we could do like a 2020 edition.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
we'll see after the new year
Yeah.
what
See what's transpired
happened after the holidays and
And,
everything like that.
Right, and of course we'll be in contact, obviously, for anything that's upcoming with new merch. So it's gonna be really exciting just to keep building this relationship with you and D and everybody else. So it's gonna be really cool.
I'm so excited. Like, this is the best. And for those of you listening who don't know, they came to me very generously and just kind of like offered their help and their hearts and their services to just be a part of, what I have going on. And that means the world to me. So you guys are awesome people.
You're
and
awesome.
Thank
those
you.
of you listening, you have to support Hardcore Strong until you die.
Thank you. And for all of our listeners, like we said, if you don't know who Kayla Rae is, make sure you check her out. We're going to have all her links down below on our YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll drop the video link for Stupid because it's an amazing, amazing video. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you play that. And yeah, we'll just obviously probably keep you guys posted on Kayla Rae and what she does on our Instagram. And
Right. So
need to
can you
watch
tell
her
everybody where they could find you a majority of the
I
time?
like the best.
Yeah.
Kayla Rae Music on Instagram and Twitter. And that's pretty much where I be all the time. You can find me on YouTube at Kayla Rae.
Right.
I don't think people really get on Facebook like that, so I won't plug that. But
I know we're always like more Instagram too.
yeah, but yeah, follow me on Instagram because 20,000 followers by next year. That's the goal.
Oh, yeah, you'll get that for sure. Yeah.
Should do that by Monday.
I know.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Kayla. We truly appreciate it.
Of course.
You were awesome. We loved hearing more about you because, like, I even told Ernest before we got here, I'm like, I'm so excited to learn more about you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're such an awesome and genuine person, and
Thanks.
you're super humble and super real. And I know a lot of our listeners are going to relate to a lot of things that you said. So I'm really excited about this.
And I came out of this learning so much more about you and taking a lot of stuff in too. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And being
Of
more
course.
motivated. You definitely motivated me and inspired me to do more. So I'm like,
thank
super
you.
excited
Thanks for
to
the
keep
good
going.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have good questions.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. So thank you to everyone that's listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have this podcast up and available. We're looking at hopefully by Wednesday, right?
Right, hopefully.
So Kayla Rae, just so you know.
I can't wait to hear it back. I'm excited.
I know, me too. And we are available on Spotify and iTunes.
Amazing.
What else?
And you go to our website. You can shop now. It's officially hoodie season, so you can go to
It is.
www.hardcorestrong.com.
Long sleeves,
So.
Them hoodies are comfortable, y'all. Get those.
Oh yeah, we got something for you over there too.
Yeah,
So you
That's
get,
mine.
So you get to leave with another gift.
Yes. Free
Okay.
t-shirts on deck.
I know. Yeah, and then like we said, we'll have all Kayla Rae's links down below and her website too as well, and our website. So thank you guys for listening. We truly appreciate it. Until next time, I guess.
Yeah, guys. Remember, it's a beautiful day to be alive, and you guys stay hardcore strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, love you.
Peace.
Bye.
Okay, let's do it again from You're Not Hardcore. 1, 2, 3. Well, you're not hardcore.